problems, and today I have a very interesting topic to discuss. By a show of hands, how many of you pay taxes and are tired of seeing your hard-earned money go to waste? Do you find it a bit absurd that we have to pay to fund the prison system? While the government wastes money rebuilding other countries, sending our troops overseas, every day I walk through the dorm at a prison, watching inmates waste their time, talent, fighting, and using tactics that I know would be beneficiary to the military. The discipline, respect, leadership, and camaraderie all reminds me of when I was an enlisted soldier. I'm here today to argue that instead of wasting taxpayer money funding the prison system, the government should use those who are incarcerated in a more constructive way, in which I have the perfect solution. So let's begin. Did you know that the U.S. military is one of the largest militaries in terms of number of personnel? Did you also know that Secretary of Defense Robert Gates made a proposal in 2007 to increase the service to $750,000 by the year 2012? According to FY 2009 defense budget issued for Congress. With that in mind, how is the United States going to do so when there is already a shortage of military personnel due to the economy and world affairs? I may have the answer. Incarceration in the United States is under the power of the Constitution of the United States, which means that prisons are operated under a strict authority of both federal and state governments, similar to the military. So why not take advantage of those who are incarcerated? Every hour of the day, somewhere, a crime is being committed, thus causing the prison population to increase. In 2008, more than 2 million people were incarcerated in the United States prisons and jails, quadrupling since 1980. As documented in 2009, reports from the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics. This is a graph that reflects the difference of expenses and population between the military and the prison system. The United States had the highest documented incarceration rate in the world. Nearly 1 million of those incarcerated in state and federal prisons, as well as local jails, are serving time for committing nonviolent crimes. Since the draft ended in 1973, the U.S. military became a volunteer service, and the military has increasingly reflect the country's diversity and struggles. In 2009, more than 1.5 million soldiers were on active duty in the military, with an additional 848,000 people in the 7 reserve components, according to the DoD personnel and military statistics. As you know, almost every day military recruiters continue to seek out new recruits to fill the ranks of those who are killed, injured, and retired. Now think, 1.5 million soldiers versus a little over 2 million inmates. That's about 1 million of which that have committed nonviolent crimes. Isn't there a way that our country can use these inmates to our benefit? Instead of providing those incarcerated with free shelter, meals, medical, and health, costing our country billions, we could actually save. Because in 2006, nearly $69 billion was spent on corrections, documented by the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics. To house approximately 5,000 people in jail awaiting trial who cannot afford bail costs about $9 billion a year, according to Ms. Laura Sullivan by the National Public Radio. All other funds cover medical, dental, educational, and vocational programs, to include the cost to pay officers to supervise the inmates. In addition to those funds, the U.S. spends about $692 billion annually to fund its military forces, as documented in 2010 on the GPO Access site. In 2007, the Secretary of Defense made an expansion proposal that would cost a total of $90.7 billion, documented in the FY 2009 defense budget. These funds include the cost of living for soldiers and their families, weapons and ammunition, deployment to include war. Keeping all in mind, the military population and cost, and the inmates population and cost. It will only make sense to use countries' inmate population to fill the vacancies in the military. Those who have committed nonviolent crimes only. military would save on costs because using the inmates population would decrease the expenses due to the fact no salary would have been paid, no expenses would be paid to the family, the inmate's family. Instead of paying the inmates, all rights taken will be reestablished, to include the rights to bear arms, the right to vote. All expenses related with housing inmates in prison will be eliminated, decreasing both the population and overall expenses. Just as sentencing, the inmate should have to serve a number of years sentence, however, a minimum of 4 years. At the end of service, the inmate should also be given an opportunity to re-enlist at a lower class of pay. If the inmate cannot adapt to the military structure, he or she shall be placed back into the military population, back into the prison population. To summarize everything, if indeed this was possible, and it can be with the conception enacted by the request of the President and the approval of Congress, would it make sense? Looking back, first I provided you with information on both the inmates and military population, then the cost in regards to both organizations, finalizing by discussing how doing so would benefit the military and prison system. As it should be clear now, our country could save us billions of dollars by implementing what I have discussed in this speech. Before I go, keep in mind, it only takes one person to make a change. One letter sent to the Congress for this option to be considered. So I challenge each and every one of you to make this difference. Thank you.
Like 6:45. I don't know why I missed like. I guess I was watching the clock. I missed when you were showing your diagram.
Yeah, I did look at it right.
Okay.